This child's father's name is Liao and Ji. Ji is now in 5th grade. Every time he come home from school, he always stop by the restaurant waiting for his father. He worked as a waiter at the restaurant. Since his wife died, Liao had to take care of Ji alone. The night finished work. They both go home. At home when he was playing school, a beautiful woman came to collect rent. His name is Lin. When chatting, Lin offers, next month his boss's new kiosk located on the side of the road. Daddy, if I'm not mistaken, Liao once said, want to open a salon business. Why don't you try renting that stall? But unfortunately Liao does not have the capital. After Lin left, he measured Ji's clothes, while saying, then we keep contracting. It's better to buy a kiosk as well, even though Dad's salary is small. But if we patiently save for 3 years, we could definitely have our own stall. Heard that, Ji's happy that she has always wanted to open a salon. The dream of his late mother that had not been realized. The next morning, Fitting just woke up. Ji directly count the days. He can't wait to get a stall. God of God. Just sorry yes. One afternoon when coming home from school, Ji bullied Sri Bochil. When his father was ridiculed poor, he could only silently endure annoyance, do not dare to fight because their bodies are bigger. The night Ji accompanied the father to the party. His sister's wedding. Finished the show. Because of drinking too much, Liao vomiting. With a severe drunken condition, Liao told, Dad just got a loan from his sister. Not just for business capital to buy equipment, but it's also enough money to buy a stall. Heard the news. Ji excited, soon our family dream can come true. Fur. E. Pregnant. The next morning, breakfast time, Ji and Liao discuss which stall they will buy. Liao will also try to ask Lin about his boss's stall that he offered yesterday. Who knows, it's still empty. The night after work. Because it's about to be Christmas, he wanted to buy a bicycle for Christmas. Ji. When he stopped by the bike shop, story shop owner, now the price of land has gone up. So Skipperland doubled their selling price. Beliau pun kaget. Sepulang ke rumah, saat melihat berita kenaikan harga tanah di koran, he was silent limp. He was confused how to explain the vial. If the money to buy a kiosk is less. The next day, after school it rains. Time again to do in the stall. Mid grandparents eating in luxury cars. It turned out that he was the landlord named the, or commonly called the boss's grandfather. He was Darit Sultan and the most respected man in the city. When he saw the rain, Grandpa Pity then called him into the car. With plain, G.O.B. The way home, with a sinister tone, Grandpa joked, pretending to say she wanted to kidnap G. When asked, is G afraid of him because Ray doesn't know? The boy was just dumbfounded. At night at home while eating, G told Dad about the old geezers. When you know it's Grandpa Boss, hey Tord. He's the most feared landlord in the city. If anyone dares to find trouble in his territory, get ready to die. People often call it by the nickname Old Fox or the Old Fox. G was shocked. In the middle of the chat, despite the way he was forced to be honest, we didn't actually buy a stall. Because now the price has doubled. We have to be patient. Save again until the money is enough. Heard that G said. The next day after school, when he ran into the boss's grandfather at the stall yesterday, Ji went straight to with plain boy. Said he's not afraid of grandpa. He also knew who his grandfather was. See the courage of the Songong boy. Grandpa was amazed, then told her to get in the car. On the road, grandfather explains he knows everything that goes on in his territory. He even knew that Ji was often killed. Other bocil, grandpa also tried to teach how to fight back. The key is information. If you know the weakness of your opponent, then we can easily make the opponent submit, without having to wear physical. The night, because he had not been able to realize the dream salon of the deceased mother, Ji crying alone in the park. Shortly thereafter, he came to calm. Even if it has to be delayed, but I'm sure that someday, our family's dream must come true. End of the month. Duty code Wezer Liao Falil. That night when Lin came to collect the rent, Ji tells his father's condition. After checking Lia's condition, Lin then invited Ji to eat out. In the tavern, in the long story as if the plan to buy a stall. Hey, please lower the stall price. If it's had tomorrow, please take him to the boss's grandfather's house. Let him negotiate himself. Hear Ji's request. Lin said he'd try to help. The next day, as promised, Lin drove Ji to Grandpa Boss' house. Time until see. Grandpa's house is luxurious. Ji was so amazed. When he met my grandfather and he talked together, Ji immediately beat the price of the stall. But grandfather refused. Grandfather mansehati. In business we can't use feelings. Empathy will only destroy us. Grandfather then showed me a glass of water, while teaching how to get rid of empathy. We first drink the water. Close your eyes, then say, "Not my business." Night so Ji escorted home the old fox. Liao panicked, because Liao was worried, trying to remind Ji, "Don't get close to Grandpa Boss. Later we could get in trouble." But Ji doesn't want to hear. He went straight into the room saying it was none of my business. He also istighfar. Days later, Christmas arrived that night. Finished work, Liao hurriedly came home with a Christmas gift and the new bike for Ji. At first Ji was still cranky, but when he found out his father brought a gift, he was happy. After opening one by one his gifts, he told Ji to wear a jacket because outside, so is a special gift. How can you know Andy the good times with you? One night at the restaurant, while waiting for Dad to work, Ji overheard. Lin was chatting with a business competitor, Grandpa Boss, behind the door. Time eavesdropping. Ji was shocked. It turned out Lin wanted to cooperate to bring down the boss's grandfather. It means that Lin betrayed. Finished eavesdropping. Let me not get caught. Ji hurried home. On the road, coincidentally, Ji met the boss's grandfather. Because I'm driving alone, Grandpa invites Ji to ride a car around the park. In the park, when sat at a bocil who often bully Ji. Boss's grandfather slowly passed them. That's it. After seeing their terrified expressions, Ji is very satisfied. He really wants to be like a grandfather that so many people fear. While laughing, Grandpa says the key is money. If you have a lot of money, people will definitely respect us. Oh yeah, Ji just remembered. He then told a long story about Lin's betrayal. Heard that. I'm what within who? Tomorrow night, Time to get off work. He was confused while Lin was in front of his house with a bruised face. He also ordered to enter. Inside, Lin cried and told me that he had just been fired. Although he has tried to explain if it's all just a misunderstanding, but the boss's grandfather couldn't believe it. In the room hear the story, Lin Ji feels guilty. The next day, while Liao was cooking, the owner of the shop across the street just died yesterday. Because the stall was considered haunted, maybe now the price is down. Why don't we buy it? But Liao forbade. We shouldn't take advantage of people's disasters for personal gain. Instead of obeying, Ji actually said, their problems are not our concern. He also nabbed the boy. Afternoon without father's consent. Ji kept want to ask the boss's grandfather to lower the price of his haunted stall. Time again waiting in front of the stall. Accidentally met si bocil pembuli. With confidence, Ji approached and threatened if he didn't want to get into trouble. Don't ever mess with him again. Everyone immediately ran away in fear. Because of the long wait, Ji decided to go to Grandpa's factory. Arriving at the factory, when you meet, again grandfather still not want to sell the stall at a cheap price. See Ji even crying. Grandpa then talked in the office. After calming down, Grandpa said he had met Ji's father. But when he was going to the hospital, Grandpa happened to be in the same elevator with Liao and his wife, at that time test newborn. But while in the elevator, Liao was seen trying cover his happiness so as not to hurt grandfather's heart. Because on the same day my grandfather died. Grandpa didn't tell me at all. She's very sensitive, like knowing how the people around him feel. From behind, seeing Lia's chatting attitude, Grandpa was silent. Finished the story, Grandpa said his mother's nature and Lia's nature were both care too much about other people's feelings. For him that is the nature of a loser. Because it's night, Grandpa then drove Ji home. On Grandpa's street story, his mother used to be a scavenger. But despite being born into a poor family, doesn't mean we can't change things. Since his mother died, Grandpa kept working hard, and he threw away his empathetic nature. In the middle of the chat time, Ji play music in the car. Grandpa remembered his childhood when he was poor. Just like Ji used to be, he also always begged people for mercy, others to get a place to live. After remembering those bitter memories, because it can't hold back the sadness, Grandpa stopped his car. Grandfather said aware, him and Ji have something in common, equally vengeful on poverty. But when Ji said, when you grow up, he doesn't want to be like grandparents, immediately fell silent. Ji's words just now are the same, just like what his late son used to say before he died. In that moment, the old fox finally realized what an asshole he has been. Arriving in front of the house before parting, Grandpa decided to change his mind. He agreed to lower his stall price for Ji. He promised to discuss it with Liao tomorrow. Heard that, Ji was shocked. At home, Ji cried moved. While writing a message on paper for Dad. Message that reads, finally my mother's dream came true. No more time to find love. Oh, Andy commuted where with you one. The next day, according to grandfather's promise, boss came to see Liao. Grandpa said he just kicked out the tavern owner's family. Now the stall is empty. If you want, you can buy it at a cheap price. But Liao refused. Instead, he begged so that grandfather let the tavern owner's family stay in their stall. He didn't want the family to be sad, especially since their father just died. Hear his words. Grandpa smiled in awe. The one he knew had not changed. Always cared for others. Afterward, when he found out his father refused the offer from his grandfather, Ji angrily keeps running away from home. In the patchy crying alone. Shortly thereafter, he came trying to come. After hearing all my father's explanations, Ji also understands and is willing to accept my decision. Decades past this, Ji looks mature and is successful. Ji now has a property business, but different from business people. Other properties vying to build elite housing. This Ji property business, instead, build cheap houses for residents. Less able. That morning during a meeting, his partner protested why every building cheap housing. Ji also always built a free school nearby. If this continues, our profits are so small and the investors will get angry. Heard that. While drinking a glass of water, Ji said none of my business. Movie is over.